Hi guys, welcome to this little recording I've done just for some lower back mobility and stretching. If anyone's got a tight back, give this a go. And specifically for the people who did 22.2, I'm sure your lower back and your hamstrings are quite stiff and will be over the next couple of days. So kicking right off, we're going to start off with our cow cat position. Most of you guys will be aware of this one from doing yoga or Pilates. So looking first of all at our cat position, looking through our legs, taking our shoulders up towards the ceiling and rounding that back out. Normally when we do this, we'll be breathing outwards and you're trying to get that spine as high as possible. In contrast, you go to your cow position, which is arching the back, looking up, and just trying to bring your stomach down towards the ground. So when you do this, do a couple of rounds each. Always be careful when you're doing this in the gym of members that will get on top of you and ride you like a horse. I'm not complaining at all. It was a very, very enjoyable ride. So thank you for that, Autumn. You made this video a bit more entertaining, so thank you. Going next, you've got our knees side to side, and most people will be familiar with this exercise just to loosen off the lower back. So starting off almost in that sort of crunchy position, but your arms out to the side and letting your knees fall out to the side. So this is a passive stretch. You're just allowing the weight of your knees just to go from side to side. You might hear a few clicks and pops in the lower back. That's quite normal, but it is a passive stretch, and you might find after doing this a couple of times you get a little bit further each time. Try and keep your hands and your shoulders pinned to the ground and just relax those hips side to side, doing a few rounds of this. Next up, we've got our open knee roll. So similar to what we've just done, but you're going to create some space between your knees. You're going to keep that space consistent, and you're just going to roll your knees side to side in this position. So it's another lower back stretch, but we're opening up the hips as well, so it kind of disengages some of the lumbar vertebrae, so you can give that a go as well. Next one is our knee to chest stretch. So lying on your back, bringing one knee up, let the other leg extend down the mat or onto the floor, but you're gently encouraging that knee to come in close to your chest. You can hold it for 3 to 5 seconds or a bit longer, and then you're going to switch legs. So as you do this, you can have a play also rolling your ankles, but you're just pulling that knee in towards the chest on that stretch. Next, our knee tuck mobility. So this is more kind of like a recovery position really. So you're pulling your knees in, and you can just either move your legs side to side. You can do a couple of circles, some rolls, but you're working in that tuck position. So this should be nice and relaxing, nice and gentle. Just moving the knees forwards and backwards, side to side. As you can see, Simon tries to kick me there as well. So again, under attack by other members, which is cool. I'm always ready for being attacked. Next one is our sitting flexion to extension. So what you're going to do is sit, and you're going to take your arms apart, and we're just going to move. It's another version of cow cat really. So I'm using my thoracic spine, I'm putting my chin on my chest, rounding my back out, and then in contrast, I'm opening up the chest, lifting my head up towards the ceiling and arching that back. So doing a couple of rounds between these two positions. It's a slightly different position, and it's quite nice for stretching out the chest as well. So depending on where your hands go, put them where you feel comfortable. You'll get a nice stretch across the chest on this one. Moving on to our 90-90 rotation. So the 90-90 position, roughly speaking, 90 degrees at the front leg, 90 degrees at the back leg, at the knee and the hip, but work wherever you feel comfortable. So with this one, what I'm going to do is think about being up nice and tall. I'm going to rotate around. I'm going to grab hold of my shoulder, and I'm actually going to pull myself around, which you'll see in a second. So I'm just pulling myself around into the position. I'm encouraging the stretch, so I'm not trying to fight it. I'm just going to go to the natural stopping point. And if you want a visual reference, you can look at something, and that can be there. And then I'm going to turn backwards in a second. So I'm going to release the arm, and then I'm going to look the other way. So this is a rotational stretch, and I'm reaching back with that arm and using the other arm to support the ground. And I'll do that a couple of times on one side. You'll notice that you'll very quickly open up your mobility by doing this a couple of times each side. And then switching on the other side, same again, just keeping those knees and hips planted on the ground. Next, our adaptive pose, child pose to Cobra. So this is another nice one just to get some length through the spine, and again, flexion and extension. So starting off with this one's one of my favorite ones, taking the knees wide apart, toes in, and just literally allowing yourself to reach out through the arms, allow your head to rest on the floor, and it's like you're trying to press your chest onto the floor. So you're lengthening from the hip upwards, and you're also getting a nice stretch in the hips as well. In contrast, you're going to move now into our kind of Cobra, so keeping the knees and the thighs on the ground, opening out the chest forwards, and just allowing that lower back to stretch out. Just make sure you're breathing when you do this, and you're not trying to work too hard between these two positions, but you are just getting that contrast of flexion and extension. Next up, we've got our lateral flexion reach. So in the similar position that we've just been in, we're going to be reaching forwards. So it's kind of like, again, that kind of lazy child's pose. And I'm going to walk my hands out and around. I'm going to try and keep the weight equal in my my knees. So I'm not trying to bias by tipping my weight over. Try and keep the weight equal through both knees and your feet. But you're reaching round, and if you're reaching round to the left, you're going to feel the stretch more on the right shoulder. And as you reach round to the right, you're going to feel it on the left shoulder. But it's a nice way of getting lateral flexion through the spine and also give your lats a bit of a stretch as well. As always, just breathe into this stretch, guys, as you move. Okay, so our supported head roll, really important on this one, guys. Make sure you're supporting your head. So I'm actually framing off my elbows, and I'm actually using a little bit of my body weight just to push my head. It's almost like I'm trying to push my head up my own bum. That's probably the politest way of doing it or saying it. But I'm getting a bit more of a stretch now in the neck, and then I'm just moving between those two positions. The next one is a freestyle movement. So you can have a play around. If you know your down dog position, have a little go at flowing from your down dog to your, if you know what your beast movements are. You're just basically moving around in this sort of grounded position. So staying grounded through the hands and the feet, and you're just having a play just to do like kind of a freestyle movement to finish off your stretching regime. And then lastly, coming to your knees, opening out the chest. Sorry for the clip, but I'm really ugly, so I didn't want my face in the frame. But giving yourself a bit of a move around. So hopefully those exercises will come in useful. If you can try and get into a habit of doing them. I would say at least every other day, and good luck.